Leo, sun, moon, and rising. This is your tarot reading for the week ahead. Pretty good week. You've got bookending your week is the Magician card and the Ace of Swords. Very, very similar energies. All about ingenuity, new ways of thinking, creativity, inspiration particularly. So it's going to be a week that you feel inspired, that you feel that you have those light bulb moments of, that's what I should be doing. That's the way to go ahead. That's the way I should be looking, seeing, and thinking about this. So pay particular attention to those aha moments. There are times, I'm sure you had them, where you're in the bath, the shower, where you're just kind of not really doing much at all, and then you have those thoughts and ideas that drop in. Pay real attention to those because they're invaluable. Might be useful to keep a dream journal for this week as well, because it's likely that those messages that are coming through on the subconscious to that conscious level, or from the divine, the superconscious to the conscious level, again, the more that we can support that, the more that we can bring that through, the more invaluable it's going to be. If dream journaling isn't your thing, absolutely fine. Are we making some time for meditation? Are we making time for some reflection? It doesn't have to be deep-seated transcendental meditation where you're flying off to another planet or anything like that. It can literally be a cup of tea, 5 minutes. Are we just gently reflecting on things? This isn't about sitting there and kind of furrowed brow and really trying to puzzle it out. That's not the approach. It's more about allowing those things to drop in. And in that shower example, usually the times that things drop in is when we're not thinking about them too hard or pushing too hard. And this is really important. So jot those ideas down, jot those little inspirations down, because there's a real sense of those becoming invaluable resources later on down the line. We've also got, which is fascinating for me, the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups. And in between those two cards, you've got the Seven of Pentacles, which is the Lord of Success Unfulfilled. It's quite an interesting kind of energy that, because it's likely to express itself in a point. I always see the Seven of Pentacles as quite ambiguous. The character in the card is looking down at the things that he's planted, the crops that he has managed to grow. And you can't quite tell whether the character is looking kind of contemplative, reflective in the way that we've spoken about before, or actually just looking a bit kind of deflated, a bit disillusioned, a bit frustrated. Is that all that we managed to do? So that's in part why I'm saying reflection, particularly if you're feeling that sense of dissatisfactoriness, particularly if you're feeling that sense of been really kind of putting in the time, putting in the energy, putting in the effort. Again, this is feeling vaguely familiar. There might have been themes around this from last week's video, so it's worth checking that out too. But this kind of, and because if we start cultivating that sense of reflectiveness and that inspiration, it's likely to give us real answers and insights as to how to get to that final 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles, how to really get into that place of manifestation and abundance and basically realizing our dreams. There's a real sense of, there's a great quote by Einstein saying that we can't use the same thinking, that we've created the problems in order to solve them. So there's this real need for ingenuity. There's this real need to actually, I need to think about this laterally, not just keep hammering away at things as I have previously. That seems a bit thwarted. That seems a little bit counterproductive, if I'm going to be honest. So it's much more useful this week to kind of pull back and just gently muse and gently reflect on what it is you're trying to gain some insights and some clarity around. It may be very worthwhile praying or asking your guides or asking for that divine inspiration. It's so much of what the Magician represents. You've got the lemniscate right above his head, that infinity symbol, and showing that these things are always in flux and they come and go. So it's again part of the way to guard against this sense of disillusionment. There's a big thing here about relationships because of that King of Cups and Queen of Cups, and the way that they're placed within the reading, they're kind of looking at each other. Now, I want to start with this may very well apply to a relationship with yourself, and as we know in the tarot, it tends to have this duality anyhow. So let's start with an internal relationship, then we'll look at the external relationships. Internally, there's a big call to be quite emotionally mature this week. Again, it's interesting with that Seven of Pentacles slap bang in the middle. It's not giving into this disillusionment, not giving into this sense of dissatisfactoriness, not giving into this sense of being shortchanged. There may be a tendency or a leaning towards victimhood, and this leaning towards, oh, why didn't this work out? Feeling a little bit sorry for yourself, if I'm going to be completely blunt. And that's not to say that there won't be those setbacks or frustrations, but a spiritually and emotionally and mentally mature person would go, okay, that's just par for the course. We keep going. What's the learning experience from this? It's very much asking you to kind of elevate your emotional response in kind of all areas of your life, really. And again, that might be in interactions with other people. It might be from news that you hear. It might be from the frustrations that you encounter day to day. It's actually, am I responding to this in the most mature and enlightened and aware way? An aware way? In a way that is aware. As possible. It's like just taking it on the chin, taking it as, okay, this is what's happening, taking it with acceptance and being able to move on from that. As I say, this ultimately looks really good, but your only kind of downfall, if we can say it like that, is going to be yourself, and kind of feeling, again, slightly sorry for yourself, or taking things more personally than they need to be. I think that's a really good way to express it. So are we entering into things? Are we approaching to things with an emotional maturity? If not, how do I adjust that? How do I bring that in and just bring in that level of acceptance? Because the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups is the most advanced point of the cups, and the cups being all about the emotional and spiritual realm. So it's kind of, and that's quite an exciting mix of emotional maturity and insight and awareness and flashes of inspiration. That's a really, really exciting mix there. So if we can come at things in an impersonal way, then that's going to be even better. It's not a case of, what about me? What do I... Just scrap all of that. Just stop it. There's something else I want to say. Yes, you may find that your relationships, particularly the intimate relationships, we've got these two. In some ways, it's great because they're quite well matched, the King and Queen of Cups, because they're obviously both within the emotional realm. They can have this emotional depth. But in some ways, it can be challenging because both of them can get quite emotional and go, you don't understand me. Well, you don't understand me. And it's like, because of that emotional maturity, there is also that great emotional sensitivity. So you may find that those around you are a little bit more sensitive than usual. People might react in slightly strange ways, and you think, why are they kicking off about that? Or why are they being grumpy? Or why are they being kind of really touchy? All of those things. And again, this is part of why we need to bring this emotional maturity going. It's got nothing to do with me. How can I be compassionate? How can I be supportive? How can I bring empathy to this situation? Despite those times where a partner or a family member, a colleague may be acting really strangely, typically, people act strangely when they're in a place of hurt or a place of fear or a place of sensitivity. So rather than being combative about that and taking that kind of personally, is how can we support them in that really nourishing way? There is a sense here too, I'm not quite sure where this is going, but I'm being shown this image of the King and Queen Cups, either side of the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles representing a flask that's almost, it's not quite full, it's only full to about 70%. So it's like topping up that last little bit. So For me, that's more around, are there relationships, or are there emotions, or are they heart-led connections that have perhaps been a little bit neglected, that need a little bit of TLC, that need just topping up that little bit more. It's not necessarily about filling our own cup. Interestingly enough, it's more of a dynamic between one person here, another person here, and the energy between these two people. So whether that's a spouse, whether that's a boyfriend, girlfriend, or something in between, whether that's a really close family member, a friend, whatever it might be, but just have a little think about, are there some relationships that I've been slightly neglecting or need a little bit more tenderness, or something that I can input a little bit more so it gets topped up to that 100% again, so that it's happy and pleasant and it's kind of self-sufficient for a while. It's not that we have to kind of continually plow in that energy and effort. It's something that gets topped up, is happy for a while, and then dips down, and then we have to top it up. So really do a bit of an energetic and emotional stock check of where your relationships are, and if they need a little bit of support, really worthwhile checking with your friends, checking with the close ones to you. Have you been quite distracted? Has there been lots going on? Has that been slightly neglected? And it's only slight. It is kind of only dipped down to 70%, but we don't want that to carry on and go down to 50, 30, and then we're kind of trying to play catch up. So the more that we're able to get ahead of that this week, it will really pay dividends later on. But ultimately, looks great, looks really really exciting. And just remember, okay, where do I get my brightest ideas? Where do I kind of have these flashes of inspiration and insight? Okay, let's start cultivating that a little bit more. But I hope that helps. I hope you've enjoyed your reading, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.